ISV Shadowwolf, on approach to Lusitania. August 16th, 2560. James Henry moved through the half-lit corridors of his ship clad in a full softsuit, an atmospheric suit made of light materials that gave greater mobility than heavier, stronger hardsuits designed for full EVA. The lack of significant light cast long shadows into his helmet, which blended well with his dark skin and eyes. He felt the familiar fatigue of a post-crisis adrenaline crash coming on, which he resisted. The others were waiting for him. When he walked into the galley of the Shadowwolf, he was met with silence. Much of his crew were here, save those who had the skills to get their regular plasma drives going again after the EMP weapon knocked out almost all of the Shadowwolf's electrical systems. They were fortunate the inactive systems couldn't be affected by it, which was how they managed to flee. The usually inactive fusion drive installed into their rear holds, which gave them the engine thrust and electrical power to escape. Everyone was sitting at tables, all in soft suits. The one exception still standing was his first mate, Tia Nguyen, once a resident of the oppressed world of Hestia, driven into exile by the defeat of the revolutionary movement she'd devoted herself to. She had a pale spacer's complexion and tanned yellow skin, since most of her distant ancestors hailed from Southeast Asia, just as most of Henry's hailed from Africa. Henry could see in her face how upset she was, with her gray eyes and excellent tone to evoke storm clouds. Her opposition to getting involved in this situation seemed all the more justified by every crisis they'd met since departing Lusitania to retrieve Carla Lupa, a.k.a. Miriam Gown. Now they'd learned about the bombing, and the strong possibility both of their employers and the Lusitanian government were dead. It was Vidyadhar Andrews, Vidya to the others, who spoke first. "God care for their souls," he said quietly, his accent from the Afro-Caribbean colonized world of New Antilla. "And bring justice to the killers." "What of our contacts?" The question came from the ship's second mate and only alien crew member. Yannick Sasurish was a Saurian, a species with militant cultures that once waged wars with the Terran Coalition, before the Coalition's victory brought an end to its vicious expansionism. Now they were quasi-allies of the Terran Coalition, while still being officially neutral in the war, and were the most powerful of the neutral governments. Yannick directed his yellow eyes to Henry, his tongue flicked inside of his helmet. "Do we have any employers left?" "I'm not sure," Henry began. "They're not saying who survived the bombing yet. State secret." "There's a complete news blackout planet-wide," Piper Lopez added. Through her faceplate, her coppery-toned skin was pale, not just from the spacer life, but from the shock and fear of their narrow escape from the League. Like Tia, she came from a neutral world, Sanctuary, named because it was the chosen homeworld for the Native American tribes that managed to put together the colony ships to flee Earth in the 22nd century. Her light brown eyes were bloodshot. "None of the usual news organizations are transmitting. The government's ordered it all shut down until further notice. Planetary security." "Perfect time for a coup d'etat." Felix Rothbard's accent was nearly the same as Henry's. A former CDF officer like Henry, they had grown up together on New Virginia in the town of Tylerville. Felix had the light-colored skin of a Caucasian, with his hair and beard a wheat-colored blonde tone. "Nobody knows anything. Most of the government's dead. All sorts of mischief can happen." There was a subtle shake to his voice, one Henry and a couple of others noticed. He was worried about Jules, his brother.